Welcome to ESPN.com's Heat Index post-game temperature check. I'm your host, Michael Wallace, and we'll break down Thursday night's Miami Heat 98-87 victory over the Los Angeles Lakers, a win that moved Miami to 2-0 on this critical five-game homestand. It also moved them to 5-0 without Dwayne Wade, who continues to miss time with a slew of lower leg injuries, the most recent being a sprained right ankle. And the bonus here is that they're now 1-0 with Eddie Curry back in the lineup. It's been a long time coming for Eddie Curry, who spent the last 2 years battling weight problems, conditioning issues, and frankly, philosophical differences with his previous team, the New York Knicks. But tonight, all that changed when he checked into the game in the first quarter and officially and earnestly began his Miami Heat career to what basically was a room full of people who gave him a standing ovation on some levels. Eddie was one of the sidebars to this story. Obviously, the main headliners are LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. And as you can see, this is the post-game scene from American Airlines Arena, and it's a little bit something different in the aftermath this year after last year. You notice anyone missing? Kobe Bryant isn't back here taking jumper after jumper in sort of a therapeutic recovery from a poor game. He did struggle tonight, but I guess he decided to take his talents on to Orlando tomorrow, where the Lakers must play the Orlando Magic. For now, the Miami Heat would take this victory and move forward and hope to get a little bit more healthy. LeBron James overcame flu-like symptoms to play tonight. Earlier today, he was listed as questionable and stayed home from shoot-around. But he came back tonight and responded with a huge game to lead this team again without Dwayne Wade. LeBron finished with 31 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds, playing just like Magic Johnson, who was a courtside guest of Pat Riley, sitting in the rows behind me during the game. But this was a well-balanced victory for Miami. They also got 15 points from Chris Bosh, 8 rebounds, 11 points from Shane Battier, who basically outplayed Kobe Bryant in the first half and held Kobe to only 6 points. Bryant missed 8 of his first 9 shots against Shane's defense. Miami also got 10 points from Mario Chalmers, a 8.8 rebound game off the bench from Udonis Haslem, and the Miami Heat shot 50%, again, maintaining their hot stroke from three-point range, shooting 50% here tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. But this post-game Heat temperature check is not about me, it's about you. And as we mentioned on our Heat Index Facebook page, Tom Habistro and writer Brian Windhorse, we're both all trying to bring you the most comprehensive coverage of this Miami Heat team. And one of the things we like to do is involve you. And that's why we're here tonight, courtside, going back over this game and then looking forward to Saturday night's game here again against the Philadelphia 76ers. As promised, I said I would take your questions and offer some feedback on some of the things that you guys thought about during the game and after the game in the aftermath. So we'll start with on Twitter. And Moody Main had the question, how do you think Eddie Curry looked in his first game back in action since 2009? Well, as I said before, Eddie Curry has lost a ton of weight. He's come into camp and lost even more weight after that. Tonight was a huge emotional victory personally for Eddie Curry because it's been a long time, as I said before. He finished tonight, obviously. It wasn't, he played sparingly, just a couple of minutes, but he did finish tonight with 6 points, 3 rebounds on 2 of 3 shooting in 6 minutes and 6 seconds. But the key thing about Eddie to keep in mind is that not only did he just take this first step and take it in a positive direction, he continued to put in work after the game. He spent about 20 minutes on the treadmill and in a conditioning session after the game because he wanted to put his body through a more rigorous routine beyond the 6 minutes he got on the court. So if Eddie Curry can give this Heat team 10 to 15 minutes a night at the center spot, 8 to 10 points and a couple of rebounds, and just be a big physical presence inside, it'll go a long way for a team that already has one of the smallest front lines in the league, with starter Joel Anthony being 6'9", Chris Bosh being 6'10", but a perimeter-based power forward, and Udonis Haslem bringing his rugged and rough play at 6'8" under the basket. So they needed some bulk and some size, and Eddie Curry is going to continue to bring that. We'll move on with the questions here. I have another From our Facebook feed at heatindex.com, excuse me, our Heat Index Facebook feed, Matt Pineda, do you think LeBron being willing to shoot more threes again is a good sign for the Heat, maybe in small doses? Well, LeBron went the first 2 weeks of the season without taking any threes and basically committed to taking the ball inside and establishing his post game. That's important because he spent the summer, as we all know, working with Akeem Olajuwon and trying to shore up one of the areas of his game that everyone knows can be an absolute strength if he commits to it. But now, in the last couple of games, he's found his rhythm. He's found his rhythm from behind the three-point line. Tonight, for instance, he took three, made two. So he's going to be an efficient shooter. And the thing about LeBron is that efficiency is the name of his game. You rarely see LeBron put up a 9 for 40, 9 for 30, 9 for 23 type night. You're going to see him remain pretty consistent with his. He's not going to take a lot of bad shots that he can't make. And he's not going to go 100% shooting at any particular night, but he's also going to be an efficient shooter. He's going to pick his spots. And right now, he's recommitted to his three-point shot when available. And that's one important thing to keep in mind. So if LeBron moves forward and picks his spots with the three-point shot and plays off of an inside-outside game, I have no problem with him taking threes because, frankly, he can make those. He can make those shots as he's proven before. Raymond Garcia from our Facebook feed asked, the more that Dwayne Wade is out with injuries, will this team start to become LeBron's team rather than Dwayne's team? Well, I get this question a lot. And frankly, I don't buy into it whatsoever. I think, and I've always said from the beginning, LeBron James left a really good situation in Cleveland to come to a potentially great situation in Miami. He knew that he needed that kind of teammate, the caliber of a Dwayne Wade, to get him over that championship hump. So to answer your question, I don't see this team being a tug of war between LeBron and Dwayne anymore. I thought that was a fair question last year. I don't think so this year. I've sort of switched and changed my stance on that, frankly. I said that this was Dwayne's team. This was Dwayne's town. This was Dwayne's locker room. He's established a championship pedigree here by leading the Heat to a 2006 championship. So LeBron would have to come in and sort of get in where he fits in underneath Dwayne Wade. But I think now what we're starting to see is LeBron get more comfortable in year two. He's getting more confident in what he can do, the limits and the boundaries that he can reach and push. And I think eventually Dwayne is going to realize that LeBron is the guy. Dwayne is going to realize that. Pat Riley once used to tell the story about how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, after a certain period, had to give the team over, had to gift the team over emotionally and physically to Magic Johnson when Magic was the young and up-and-coming big lion and Kareem was getting up there in years. Dwayne's by no stretch in a rocking chair. He's just 30 years old. But I think Dwayne knows that if you let LeBron do the heavy lifting, be the face of the franchise, he can supplement that, and he knows when to pick his spots. And Dwayne is also comfortable enough in his own skin to not be offended by the shift in focus here. But again, this is a team that obviously Dwayne Wade and LeBron James are both going to have plenty of chances to be at the forefront of this team and this organization. Next question is from Ian Moore from our Facebook feed. Why do you think LeBron takes a back seat when Wade is in the lineup? And does that hinder his aggressive nature when both are playing? Well, that sort of piggybacks on the last question that I just answered. And, like I said before, LeBron has even admitted that when Dwayne Wade is there, it's a different approach. It's a different mindset that he has to take because he doesn't have to do the heavy lifting. He can trust that, hey, I could take a possession, 2, 3, or 4, or maybe even a quarter off and conserve energy to sort of pick his spots a little bit better. When Dwayne is not there, he knows the work falls completely on him. And that's one of the things that you've seen out of LeBron in these few games that Dwayne's been out. A lot of 30-point games. As I said before, he was over 30 points again tonight. He had 33 points Tuesday night in a victory against the San Antonio Spurs, 31 points again tonight. So LeBron knows when to pick it up, obviously, and he has to now figure out how to remain aggressive and let Dwayne make the adjustments when he returns to the lineup. Steve McDonald asks, what did I think of Eddie Curry's return? Do I think he could be a pivotal pivotal member of the rotation moving forward? I think that's an absolutely easy question to answer, and frankly, it's yes. It's yes. Miami doesn't have a lot of options at center beyond Joel Anthony. Dexter Pittman is still recovering from the flu. He's only 2 years into his career. So if Eddie Curry can be the two things that he already is when he rolls out of bed, and that's big and hungry, he can help this team. He can help this team just by being a big presence and being hungry enough to sort of reset his career. He has a great opportunity here in Miami. He's going to have his minutes. He's going to get his opportunity to shine alongside a team that's frankly going to be in the spotlight all year long. So Eddie Curry's in a good spot. The Miami Heat's in a good spot. It's a low-risk marriage, and right now it's one that's well worth the money that's been invested. JC Heat 305 from the Twitter feed asks, he states that he needs to get the kind of code that LeBron had in order for him to get up and feel better at work tomorrow. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we all can sort of have the kind of bounce back and deal with our illnesses and flu-like symptoms the way LeBron does? But doesn't it always happen this way? I remember several years ago, Michael Jordan um, had one of his greatest games in the finals when he had the flu, and all the stories before the game were about how much could he have left, is he going to miss the game, and then he goes out and plays a phenomenal floor game and falls into Scottie Pippen's arms, and Scottie carries him off into the locker room after he beats Utah in that game. And it was the same case with LeBron. He's not going to make a big issue out of his flu, but we know that he is feeling under the weather, something that he brought back from that 5-game road trip that ended in Denver last week. And it's been a bug that's affected several members of the team, frankly. But yeah, give me whatever he's having, and I'd take it for sure, most definitely. Back to our Facebook feed. Antoine Chow, I believe, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. Are you concerned that the Heat allow their opponents to score 99, nearly 100 points a game, and rank so low in the NBA standings statistics in points allowed? On the surface, this is a concern because this Miami Heat team prides itself on being one of the stingiest teams in the league. But as Eric Spoelstra would tell you, the fact that they're committing to a more up-tempo pace means that they're going to continue to allow some more points. So the possessions and how you're defending efficiently in those extra possessions um, are what matter, and that's the bigger concern there. Can they continue? They're going to give up more points surely because there's going to be more possessions in the game because they're playing at a more up-tempo pace. But as of right now, we've seen the last couple of games that this Miami Heat team can put together quarters and halves that are just fantastic when it comes to shutting down their opponents. The Lakers finished with only 87 points. They shot 42% from the field. Most of the game, that was 31% in the 30s in the first half. So, Miami's defense came through tonight, and that's what pretty much set the tone for this victory. A couple of more. Um, Back to the Twitter feed. Wall Street player Don Omar Rodriguez says, "Hey, Mike, you still have time to change your MVP pick, brother." And frankly, he's right. There's still plenty of time before the end of the season plays out, and I have to submit the ballots for my postseason awards. For those who don't know, I picked Kevin Durant. I said it's Kevin Durant's MVP to lose. Kobe Bryant certainly has entered his name into the race by putting together that string of 40-point games early in the season. But LeBron James has been phenomenal just because of what he's been able to do with this team missing Dwayne Wade. When you put back-to-back victories together over San Antonio and the Los Angeles Lakers, yes, they're older, slower teams, less athletic, but these are defensively committed teams that know how to take star players out of the game or at least limit them. And for LeBron to put back-to-back 30-plus points and is almost, frankly, averaging a triple-double, he's showing you that he still is the preeminent player in this league and a serious MVP candidate. I've said all along that I do think the fact that Dwayne Wade is here and LeBron James are going to sort of cancel out one another when it comes to the vote. But I think this little test run that people are starting to see nationally, that he's capable of carrying this team, is going to always help. And I think it's going to give him a boost and give him some more sympathy brownie type points among league voters. LeBron already has 2 MVPs in his stash. I think he'd much rather prefer a finals MVP at this point that comes with a championship ring. Moving on, going back to the Twitter feed, Chris Matthews at I Breathe Wonder says starting both LeBron and Wade, then playing them opposite of one another might be the way to go. Basically, what he's saying is you start them both in the same lineup when Wade gets healthy, and then you sort of alternate them through the second and third quarter, and then probably have them both in the fourth to finish off the game. And what that does, it establishes a pecking order. But the bottom line is that these two guys are going to have to know how to play off of one another. You don't dummy down what you're dominant at. And the fact that they can send LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade on the floor together puts a lot of pressure and a lot of fear, not fear, but apprehension, puts a lot of pressure on opposing teams to stop them. And when you keep one of them on the bench, you're basically limiting the potential that you have to be a dominant offensive force. And quite frankly, LeBron and Dwayne both play tremendous defense too. So I don't know if you want to toggle that rotation to the point where you're separating the two for long stretches in games. I do think you have to have some balance, and you can buy a few minutes and a few possessions by doing that. But for the most part, this team is dangerous. This team is elite because of what they have in concert between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. A couple of more. Philip Gary from our Facebook feed asks, is Joel Anthony becoming a legitimate offensive threat? He seems to score a few baskets a game and even a decently high percentage. Mario Chalmers seemed like working with him. Mario Chalmers has been working with him and worked with him well in the game tonight. And that's true. You know, Joel Anthony has been an efficient player. I was talking to one of the statistical analysis analysts with the Miami Heat.com, and I was surprised to learn that Joel is shooting about 70% from the field on left-handed hook shots in the lane. So, you know, the stats guys are beyond me, and sometimes in the breadth and wealth of information that they have and that they use at their disposal. But Joel Anthony is or has improved his catch and finish game, and that's one thing that he really needed to work on. A lot of the focus was fixated on LeBron working with Hakeem Olajuwon, but what people overlooked was that Joel Anthony spent a lot of time with his Canadian national team and working out on his own with different trainers to hone his game. And it's starting to pay off. He can't be a liability on offense for this team to be successful. He's going to have to be able to catch, set screens, roll to the basket, and finish with dunks. And we're seeing that from Joel Anthony this season. And it's been, frankly, it's been a surprise. It's been a bit of a surprise. And I have his numbers right here, what he's shooting on the season from a percentage standpoint. And Joel Anthony, believe it or not, is shooting 62.5% from the field. So he's not going to be a 10, 12, 15 touch a game center. That's not what he is. He's going to be a guy that, hey, when a play breaks down and there's a loose ball or somebody gets doubled, you throw it to Joel, and he has to be able to finish at the basket. And lastly, Mickey Evans from our Facebook feed asks, are the Lakers done? Have we seen the last of the Los Angeles Lakers dominance? And I'll end the segment here with that question. And my answer to that is right now the Lakers are in a tight spot. They're in a tough spot. A lot of transition. I'm still wondering what they gained out of giving away Lamar Odom for nothing. They certainly need more versatile playmakers. It's putting a lot of pressure on Kobe Bryant to be everything and to score 40 points a game for this team to stay in close in games and have a chance to win. For whatever reason, when the Lakers play Miami, the Lakers never play to their strength. They do not dominate the paint as much as they should, considering they have Andrew Bynum and Pau Gasol down there, and Miami has no one that size and that length that can compete with them. You look at the points in the paint, and the Lakers only had 36. Miami tied them at 36 points in the paint. Second chance points, the Lakers only had 4. That's embarrassing when you have a pair of 7-footers the way that the Los Angeles Lakers have. So, maybe they're still tinkering and trying to figure out whether to trade Bynum for Dwight Howard and gain some explosion and some excitement back into their game. But right now, they just don't look like they're an explosive team, a team that's really ready to carry the burden through this truncated season and get back to the playoffs strong. Having said that, there's still a lot of basketball left to be played. They are 10-6 after this loss tonight, and they go to Orlando, where Bynum and Gasol will be facing off with Dwight Howard. So I don't think the Lakers are done the way I think the Boston Celtics might be, but I do think that they have their work cut out for them to be a home court advantage type team in the West, and that's going to be something that we see as we move forward. To wrap up, again, the Miami Heat moved to 10-4 in the season. They recovered from that 3-game losing streak that they returned from the West Coast with by winning 2 straight. They face Philadelphia on Saturday and then another game right after that on Sunday against the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to try to keep this momentum going. Dwayne Wade's status is still yet to be determined. The team is still not putting a time frame on his expected return. But I think Dwayne is feeling better. I saw him in the locker room. He hopped up on his chair in the locker and reached up in his cabinet to get some things and hopped back down on his ankles. So I think he's starting to move around a lot more. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to come back to practice and try to do a little bit more each day and maybe be back in the lineup as soon as next week. So that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks a lot for sending your questions in to both our Twitter and our Facebook sections. And again, signing off from American Airlines Arena, where the Miami Heat just defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 98-87. Kobe still hasn't come back out. I think he's left the building, and so have the Miami Heat. For Heat Index and ESPN.com, I'm Michael Wallace. I'll see you again Saturday night for another edition of the post-game temperature check.